Brad Pitt as Achilles, Gerard Butler as King Leonidas, and now Christopher Nolan taking on the Odyssey. Hollywood has always been obsessed with ancient Greece. Whether these movies are historically accurate or loosely adapted, they give us the gateway to explore one of the most fascinating civilizations in human history. Today, we're using your favorite blockbusters as a roadmap through ancient Greece. From the days of Achilles all the way to Cleopatra. Over 1,000 years of history. Let's start with the Mycenaean age at the very beginning. You know the 2004 movie Troy, starring Brad Pitt? The most powerful Greek leader in that film, Agamemnon, was the king of Mycenae. In this era, Mycenae was the dominant power in Greece. But it wasn't the only one. Kingdoms were scattered across Greece, and in the movie, pretty much every major character, Menelaus, Odysseus, Achilles, is a king or an aristocrat. Now, the question everyone asks, did the Trojan War actually happen? Most of what we know comes from Homer's legendary epic, the Iliad. We don't even know if Homer was a real person, but archaeological evidence has identified a site called Hisarlik in modern-day northwestern Turkey as the likely location of Troy, and historians do believe some kind of conflict happened there around the 12th century BC. So, did the Trojan War happen? Probably. But Achilles, Helen of Troy, and the giant wooden horse? I'll leave those for you to decide. Speaking of Homer, keep an eye out for Christopher Nolan's upcoming film, The Odyssey. Based on Homer's other legendary epic, it follows Trojan War hero Odysseus on his wild 10-year journey home after the war. It's already generating enormous buzz before its release. We've dropped a couple of shorts on it. Do check those out. Back to history. The Trojan War marked the end of the Mycenaean age, and what followed was the Greek Dark Ages. Writing disappeared. Cities shrank. Trade collapsed. And this wasn't just a Greek problem. Historians call it the Late Bronze Age collapse, a catastrophic civilizational breakdown that also brought down the Hittite Empire, disrupted the Levant, and rocked Egypt. One of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. Then came Archaic Greece, which was ancient Greece's Renaissance. Literature flourished. Art thrived. And this is also when Homer is believed to have lived. The key political unit of this era was the city-state. Athens, Sparta, Thebes. Greek culture exploded outward, with city-states popping up across the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. And at the tail end of this period came one of history's most dramatic confrontations, the Greco-Persian Wars, running across 5 decades. Its most iconic moment came in 490 BCE at the Battle of Marathon. Legend has it that the messenger Phidippides ran the entire distance from the battlefield to Athens to deliver news of the victory, inspiring the modern long-distance race. Now, we're in the classical period. Xerxes I of Persia invaded Greece with a vengeance, leaving a massive land and sea force. That brings us to the 2006 blockbuster 300, starring Gerard Butler as King Leonidas of Sparta. The Battle of Thermopylae in 480 BC, 300 Spartans, plus several thousand Greek allies, holding a narrow mountain pass for 3 days, against tens of thousands of Persians. The Greeks were eventually outflanked and surrounded. Most of them died, but their sacrifice bought Greece the time to prepare. The naval side of the conflict is captured in 300, Rise of an Empire from 2014. The film depicts the Battle of Artemisium, a naval engagement happening simultaneously with the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae. The Greeks retreated strategically, allowing the Persians to land and burn Athens. Then comes the ultimate showdown, the Battle of Salamis, also in 480 BC. The allied Greek navy, led by Athens, lured the Persian fleet into the narrow straits between mainland Greece and the island of Salamis. Brilliant strategy. The Persians had far more ships, but in those tight, cramped waters, that meant nothing. Around 200 to 300 Persian ships were captured or destroyed. Xerxes had no choice but to withdraw his remaining forces back to Asia. Athens emerged from the war as a naval superpower, channeling its wealth into what we now call the Golden Age of classical Greece. Socrates, the Parthenon, and the birth of Athenian democracy. But success breeds enemies. Sparta grew alarmed by Athens' rising power, leading to the catastrophic Peloponnesian War in 431 BC. Athens was defeated, but Sparta also paid a heavy price. The war left a power vacuum across Greece, and a kingdom to the north, Macedonia, was watching. Philip II of Macedon marched south and conquered all of Greece. He ended the era of the independent city-state and united the Greeks under his banner. When Philip was assassinated in 336 BC, his son Alexander the Great took power at just 20 years old. His brief but meteoric life is captured in Oliver Stone's 2004 biopic. 2 years later, he crossed into Asia with around 35,000 men and proceeded to conquer the Persian Empire and Egypt, eventually reaching the Indus Valley at the very edges of India. He died in 323 BC at the age of 32, never lost a single battle. Alexander's death marked the final chapter of ancient Greece, the Hellenistic period. His empire was immediately carved up by his generals into three major powers: the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, the Seleucid Empire in Persia, and the Antigonid dynasty in Greece. Alexandria, capital of Ptolemaic Egypt, the economic and cultural hub of Hellenistic Greece, home to the legendary Great Library. But a new superpower was rising in the west: Rome. It gradually absorbed the Hellenistic kingdoms one by one, and the final chapter came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, when Octavian defeated Mark Antony and Cleopatra, bringing down the last great Hellenistic kingdom. The couple took their own lives the following year. Their story is portrayed in the 1963 Hollywood classic, Cleopatra. And with that, over 1,000 years of ancient Greek civilization came to a close. If you enjoyed this journey from Troy to Alexandria, hit that like button and subscribe for more. But remember, movies are not always historically accurate. Which of these films is your favorite? Drop a comment to let us know. See you in the next one.